Hello, welcome everybody. I am Ibrahim. And this video I'm going to show you how to make the hour numbers and the minute marks. An analog clock we have 12 hour numbers from 12 to 1. Uh, I'm going to use def and span element for creating the hour number. Okay, so let's do that. Inside the clock def, uh, I'm going to give it a class attribute of hour number, and inside the def we need an span element, and I'm going to give this a class attribute of our mark, and inside the span I'm going to type 12. Now let's copy all these and paste 11 times. Now let's change it to 11, and this one to 10, 9. Okay, now let's save this and go to the install studio, okay, and install this element that we created here. First, I'm going to install the div. I'm going to use the class selector here, dot our number. Position absolute. When you set the position of an element to absolute, it's actually position the element relative to its nearest positioned ancestor. Left property 187 pixel, and top 0 pixel, and width 23 pixel, height height uh, 200 pixel, which is the half of the height of the clock diff. Okay, uh, transform origin to bottom. This property allow you to position a transformed element. Okay, uh, now let's install the span, okay, inside the div. uh, Span dot out mark. I'm going to set the position to absolute, and left to 5 pixel, and top also 5 pixel, and the index 25. This property specifies the stack order. Okay, let's set a temporary background for the div to see it better on the browser. Background color blue. Now let's save all these and refresh the page. Okay, now you see all the div stack on top of each other. Now we need to find a way to position the hour number and the way we want on our analog clock. I use the rotate technique. Let me show real quick on the browser. Okay, here let me inspect this, and I'm going to select the div that contain number 1. Okay, uh, set a transform property, transform, and rotate 30 degree, and now you see that number 1 is coming here. So one complete rotation is 360. If we divide by 12, we get the result 30. So we get the idea that we have to rotate each div from the previous or the next one 30 degree. So we can do that to select each individual div and rotate the amount of degree that we want. with CSS, but it takes lots of time and lots of code to write. So instead we use JavaScript. JavaScript can do that for us very easily. So let's go to the script.js. First, let's reference the uh, JavaScript file here, okay? Script. Uh, so here as our C is equal to script.js. Okay, now let's go to the script.js. Here, first I'm going to get all these 12 div with the query selector all method, okay, and store it in a variable. I'm going to call it our is equal to document dot query selector all, and I use the class selector here, our number, okay, number. Then I'm going to declare a variable. I'm going to call it degree and assign to it 360. And now make a for loop, okay. This for loop ran 12 times, okay, as long as I is less than 12, I plus plus. Here inside the for loop we access the our array, and the index is I, okay, and set style to it transform, and rotate parentheses we concatenate with the degree variable and degree and parentheses closing parentheses, semicolon. Every time the loop run we decrement from the degree variable 30 degree. So the logic here is very simple. For example, the first time the loop ran, the index the I is 0. So we get from the our variable, okay, the div that contain number 12, and we transform and rotate it at 360. The next time the loop ran, the I is 1, okay, and we get from the our variable, the our array, the div that contain number 11, and we rotate it 330 because once we decrement from it 30, so on, so on and so on. So let's save this and refresh the page. Yeah, that's great. But here is the problem, okay, we also rotate the hour inside the div. So look at this 6 that changed to 9, and look at the 9 that changed to something like that, okay. So let's first remove the temporary background uh, here, and refresh the page. Yeah, okay, that's great. Okay, now let's fix this problem. I'm going to the script.js and get all the span inside the div, and I store it a variable name, okay, I'm going to call it name, document dot query selector all dot our mark. Okay, here inside the for loop, once we rotate the div clockwise the amount of degree, now we want to rotate the span inside the div anti-clockwise the same amount of degree. In that case we see the number without rotation. So let's do that, okay. Num I dot style transform is equal to rotate open parenthesis minus, okay, anti-clockwise, concatenate with the degree variable and degree closing parenthesis and semicolon. Now let's save that and refresh the page. Okay, that fixed the problem. Now let's go to the index.html. Here you see that uh, these 12 div, all of them are the same, okay, the same structure, and you see the range between the number, okay, from 12 to 1. So we can create that with JavaScript, okay, all of them. I'm going to delete all of this from here and create all of them with JavaScript. Here, here, first, I'm going to get this div, okay, this clock div. Var, I'm going to call it clock document dot query selector, and I'm going to use the class selector here dot clock. First, I'm going to declare a variable number is equal to 12, and make a for loop. For example, c is equal to 0, okay, as long as c is less than 12, we need this for loop to run 12 times, okay, and plus plus. Inside the for loop, every time the loop runs, we create a div, span, and text inside the span, which is the number, okay, from 12 to 1. We create all of them, and finally we append all of them to the clock div here, to the clock div. So let's do that. Var div out is equal to document, the syntax for creating the HTML element with JavaScript, okay, create element, which element we want to create, div. As you know, we need a class attribute for this div that we created, so we can do that by the class name property. So let's give this a class attribute, div out dot class name is equal to our number, okay, and let's create the span, okay, span is equal to document dot create element, which element we want to create a span, and also let's give this a class name attribute, okay, class attribute our mark, and we need the number inside the span, okay, let's create that. I'm going to call it text document dot create text node. So I'm going to use the number variable that we declared outside the for loop here. Each time the loop run, we decrement 1 from the number variable. So first, let's append, okay, append the text to the span, then append append the span to the def hour, okay, and finally we append the def hour to the clock here, the clock def. Append child def hour. Okay, now let's save this and go to the browser and refresh the page. Okay, that's nice. Okay. So now, as you know, that we don't have any def here for the hour number, so we all created here, okay, with JavaScript. So now let's create the minute mark. We use the same technique and the same logic for creating the minute marks. But now for the style purpose, I'm going to make a single minute mark here. Then I'm going to delete it and create all of them with JavaScript. So let's do that. Def. I'm going to give as a class attribute of minute, okay, minute, and we also need an span element inside the def, and I'm going to give as a class attribute of minute min mark. And now let's go to the style sheet and install this minute def and then the minute mark def. Here I'm going to use the class selector, okay, here minute. I'm going to set the position to absolute, left property 196 pixel, top 0 pixel, and width 8 pixel, and height 200 pixel, z index 10, and transform origin to bottom. Now let's install the span inside the div, okay. Span dot min mark, position absolute, okay, top 0 pixel, width 3 pixel, display and line block, okay, and also height 3 pixel, and border radius 1.5 pixel, and background color black, okay. And let's save that and refresh the page. What we get, okay, you see the little dot here. So now let's go to the index.html and delete it from here, and go to the script.js. Here I'm going to create the minute marks. It's very simple. I'm going to make a for loop, okay. Make a for loop. This loop run 60 times. 60 times. Here inside the loop, first I'm going to make a def minute. I'm going to call it def minute. Document dot create element def, and we need a class attribute for the def minute. So with the class name property, let's give this a class attribute of minute. And now let's create the span, okay. Span is equal to document dot create element span. Let's give this a class attribute, main mark. And first, let's append the span to the div method dot append child span. Okay, and finally append the div method to the clock div. Append child div method. Now we created the 60 minute mark. Refresh the page. We just see a single minute mark because they all stack on top of each other. So we use the same technique that we did with the hour number. So let's do that. If we divide a complete rotation, 1 hour is 60 minutes. So if we divide 360 by 60, we get the result 6. So we get the idea that we have to rotate each div that show the minute mark from the previous or the next one 60 degree. Here, first I'm going to get all those 60 div that we created with JavaScript with the query selector all method. Okay, so var minute all is equal to document dot query selector all, and we use the class selector here minute. Okay, and then make a for loop. uh, this loop, okay, run 60 times. Let's declare a variable here. I'm going to call it main degree and assign to it 360. Inside the loop, we access the minute all variable, and the index is s. We set install to it, and we set a transform property. Okay, and rotate open parenthesis, and we concatenate it with the main degree variable dig and closing parenthesis and semicolon. Each time the loop run, we decrement from the main degree variable 6 degree. So now let's save this and refresh the page. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, you see we created all the minute marks. So that's it for this video. And the next video I'm going to show you how to make the center of the analog clock and the second hand, minute hand, and the hour hand. That will be fun. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and thumbs up for more support. I will see you guys in the next video.